In the movie, Jennifer Hills moves to a quiet cabin to work on her novel, but her peace is ruined by some men who attack her and assault. Jennifer faces terrible dangers. Will she find a way to escape and get her revenge? At the beginning of the film, a novelist named Jennifer Hills moved to a quiet area away from the city to finish her book. She wanted a peaceful place to write. She first went to a store and met Earl Woodison, the owner of her cabin, to get the key. Earl gave her the key and told her how to reach the cabin. On the way, Jennifer stopped at a gas station to refuel her car. There, she noticed two people, Andy and Stanley, staring at her. A gas station worker named Johnny then approached and helped her fill up the tank. Asked where she was staying, and she said she was in a nearby cabin. When Jennifer paid Johnny, she accidentally kicked a can, spilling fuel on his pants. His friends laughed, and Jennifer apologized, paid, and left. Jennifer arrived at the cabin, which was in the middle of the forest. She settled in and began writing. That night, while talking to a friend, she heard a noise from behind the cabin. She checked and found an open shack with various tools and a poisonous powder inside. She closed the shack door and returned to the cabin. While cleaning coffee that had spilled on her clothes, she noticed someone watching her from the window. The next morning, while jogging, Jennifer discovered an abandoned house in the forest. Inside, she found it empty. After returning to her cabin, she went to the bathroom but found no water when she turned on the tap. She called for help, and a man named Matthew arrived to fix the pipe. After he finished, Jennifer thanked him with a kiss on the cheek. Matthew left because he was scared and mentally challenged. He was friends with Andy, Stanley, and Johnny. He went fishing with his friends and told them that a girl from the city kissed him on the cheek. Johnny felt very upset and said it couldn't be true. Stanley then showed Johnny a video of Jennifer from his camera. Johnny realized he had been watching her from the window. Angered, Johnny decided he wanted to assault Jennifer. That night, while Jennifer was sleeping, she heard a noise at her door. When she checked, she found a dead bird on her door. Terrified, she noticed the shack door was open. She closed the shack door and returned to the cabin, where she saw photos of the men on her laptop. Scared, she saw the three men surrounding her. Jennifer lied, saying her boyfriend was coming and they should leave. Johnny responded that he knew she didn't have a boyfriend and had heard about the kiss with Matthew. He explained the kiss was just a thank you and asked them to leave. Johnny said he knew city girls and what they wanted. He offered Jennifer a bottle of alcohol and insisted she drink. Jennifer didn't want to drink, but Johnny said they would leave if she did. She drank the alcohol. They still didn't leave. Johnny said he knew city girls and what they wanted. Johnny put a baseball bat in her face and told her to show her teeth. When she did, Johnny grabbed her teeth and tried to shake them. Then he took out a gun and ordered her to pretend he was her boyfriend, putting the gun in her mouth. Matthew, uncomfortable, turned his face away. After that, Andy put the bottle of alcohol in Jennifer's mouth and was about to break it. But Jennifer pushed him away and took a spray from her bag. She sprayed it in Andy's eyes and ran away. As she ran, it became morning, and she encountered two men, including Earl, who had given her the cabin key. She told them everything that happened. Earl, who was Sheriff Storch, assured her not to worry. He took her back to his cabin and searched it but found no one. He did find Jennifer's weed and asked if she was hallucinating and if no one was actually there. She questioned why she would lie to him. Then Sheriff Storch searched Jennifer, touching her inappropriately. At that moment, the four men arrived and smiled at Jennifer. She realized the sheriff was also involved with them. The sheriff hit Jennifer and warned her that something very bad was going to happen. Johnny grabbed Jennifer and told Matthew to take off his clothes, saying he would make Matthew a man. Matthew began undressing. They tore Jennifer's clothes and forced her to lie down. Johnny then instructed Matthew to exploit her. Matthew did so, causing Jennifer a great deal of pain. The sheriff received a call from his daughter, Angel, who asked him to come home early because she had a surprise for him. He told her he loved her and promised to return early. They left Jennifer behind and went away. Jennifer managed to get up and tried to escape, but after covering some distance in the forest, she saw all five men in front of her. They caught her, forced her to lie on the ground, and put her head in water, making it hard for her to breathe. Later, the sheriff arrived and exploited Jennifer, followed by the others, who took their turn exploiting her. After some time, Jennifer, completely mentally broken and naked, started to leave. When she reached the bridge, she saw the five men waiting there to kill her. In desperation, She jumped into the water and disappeared. They searched the water, did not find her. They waited for hours, but Jennifer's body did not surface. The sheriff said this was a serious matter, so they should come every day to search for her. He warned that if she escaped, they could be caught. On the sheriff's advice, they burned all of Jennifer's belongings to destroy any evidence of her presence. That night, the sheriff arrived home, where his wife greeted him at the door. Inside, his daughter surprised him by sharing that she had been selected for the honors program. He hugged her and expressed his pride. The next morning, the sheriff returned Jennifer's keys to Earl at his office. Earl asked if Jennifer had gone back. The sheriff said she had left and returned the keys. Each day, the men searched for Jennifer but could not find her. Matthew felt guilty for the torture he inflicted on Jennifer and started hallucinating her. A few days later, Earl called the sheriff to say Jennifer's sister had called, asking why Jennifer had not returned. Earl asked if he had done anything wrong to Jennifer. The sheriff assured him that he had done nothing wrong. The next morning, Stanley ran to Andy and Johnny, saying his camera had been stolen. Andy told him it was just an average camera and not to worry. But Stanley explained that Jennifer's tape was in the camera, and if someone found it, they could go to prison. Johnny then hit Stanley and asked why he had recorded it. That night, Johnny heard a noise at his door. When he checked, he found a dead bird on his doorstep. He thought Stanley and Andy might be pranking him. He heard the noise again and found Jennifer's slippers at his door, which scared him. He then heard a sound from the bushes and discovered Matthew's rubber bands, leading him to suspect Matthew was behind it. In the morning, when the sheriff came home, his wife told him someone had sent a present. Inside was a movie cassette. When he saw it was a video of Jennifer, he became very scared and rushed to confront the boys. He beat Stanley and said there was no need to record their crimes. Johnny mentioned that someone had been bothering him too, and thought Matthew might be doing it out of guilt over Jennifer's death, intending to scare them all. He instructed Johnny to find Matthew and bring him to the sheriff. In the afternoon, the sheriff went shooting with Earl and killed him. Earl could have been a witness and sent him to prison. Meanwhile, Matthew went to Jennifer's house and recalled his wrongdoing. He then heard Jennifer's voice, went upstairs, and fell down the stairs, fainting. When he awoke, he found himself in the abandoned house with Jennifer sitting in front of him. He told her he knew she was alive. Jennifer called him over and said she knew he felt guilty. Matthew apologized, saying he hadn't harmed her intentionally, and cried. Jennifer then put a rope around his neck and pulled hard. Matthew struggled and fainted. Jennifer planned to take revenge on everyone once she recovered. In the evening, Stanley and Andy searched for Matthew in the forest and found the abandoned house. They discovered a mattress and realized someone had been living there. Suddenly, Jennifer appeared in front of Stanley. Enraged, Stanley tried to hit her, but his foot got stuck, causing him to scream and call for Andy. When Andy arrived, Stanley said Jennifer was still alive. Jennifer then struck Andy on the head with a baseball bat, knocking him unconscious, and did the same to Stanley. When Andy woke up, he found himself tied to a wooden log over a bathtub. Jennifer turned on the water, filling the bathtub. She had tied Stanley to a tree and recorded a video saying she was going to take his eyes out since he enjoyed watching others suffer. She forced Stanley to eat a dead rat, which made him vomit, and then stabbed his eyes with a fishing hook. Next, she went to Andy, who was apologizing. Jennifer reminded him that she had begged in front of him before, but was ignored. She put his head in the water, making it hard for him to breathe, and told him he would have a painful death. Jennifer returned to Stanley, removed the insides of a fish, and placed them in his eyes. She mixed poison powder into the bathtub water and removed a stick from underneath Andy, making him lose his balance and submerge his head in the poisoned water. His face burned, and he died. Stanley also died as birds came and pecked at the flesh from his eyes. Jennifer then went to a gas station, attacked Johnny, and kidnapped him. When Johnny opened his eyes, he saw Jennifer and was shocked. She forced him to open his mouth and removed his teeth one by one, causing him great pain. Johnny cursed her and threatened to kill her. Jennifer told him she would take his manhood from him. She used a grass cutter to sever his private parts and put them in his mouth, killing him instantly. Later, while the sheriff was at work, his wife called and said their daughter's teacher had come to the house. Their daughter said the teacher was very nice and would take her to a program. The sheriff told his daughter to speak with her teacher, who turned out to be Jennifer in disguise. When Jennifer gave her name, the sheriff was shocked and begged her not to harm his daughter. Jennifer ended the call and took his daughter with her. When the sheriff arrived home, his daughter was already gone. His wife said the teacher had taken her to the playground. At the playground, Jennifer attacked and kidnapped the sheriff. When he woke up, he found himself tied up with a shotgun aimed at him. Jennifer pushed the shotgun inside and told him she felt the same way when he abused her. She asked how he would feel if someone abused his daughter. The sheriff vowed to kill anyone who harmed his daughter. Jennifer said she would punish him there. She tied a rope to the shotgun's trigger and attached the other end to Matthew's hand, who was unconscious. Jennifer said both would die when Matthew woke up. She went outside and sat down. When Matthew awoke and moved his hand, both he and the sheriff died immediately. The movie ended with Jennifer sitting outside.